Hello, happy Friday. Um, I'm Erin, welcome. This is our evening yin class. We'll be moving through a nice, gentle sequence together. We'll just need a block and a blanket. It's an option for some props tonight. And we're going to get started in a seated position. Our class today, I'm going to be here for a few minutes, so go ahead and set up something comfy to sit on if you like to do that. And then just finding yourself in whatever seated shape works for you on your mat. And starting to settle in. Maybe gently close the eyes or take a soft gaze towards the floor. Slowing down the body and the mind. Maybe for the first time today, bringing the hands to rest somewhere on the body, palms face down or up, just letting them fall however feels natural. And starting to bring awareness to the breath. Beginning by just noticing it without trying to change anything. Observing some of the qualities it has, whether it's fast or slow, how deep the breath is. Maybe the inhales are longer than the exhales, or the other way around. And just letting it be whatever it is for now. And starting to notice where your body connects to the ground or your mat. Perhaps sits bones, feet, some parts of the legs. And just feeling that connection. Next, we'll start to intentionally deepen the breath and closing the lips. Inhaling through the nose to a count of 4. And exhaling out the nose to a count of 4. Breathing in equal part breath. Balancing the inhales and exhales helps us find some balance in our energy and in our mind. Taking 2 more rounds of that 4-4 breath on your own. And after that second exhale, bring the palms of the hands up over the eyes, and then gently blink our eyes open before removing the palms, letting some light back into your field of vision. We'll start to take some gentle movements with the shoulders and neck, rolling the shoulders up and back, letting the shoulder blades fall. Gently rocking the head side to side, making some circles. And then switching the direction of those circles. And eventually coming back to center, finding that long spine again. We'll inhale to sweep arms up and out overhead. And then exhale to drop the right palm down. The left arm comes up and over, reaching long through the fingertips. Inhale through center, and then exhale over to the left. Inhale to center, exhale to the right. Inhale to center, and exhale to the left. And just continue with this dynamic side stretching movement. A few more rounds. And then the next time you find yourself over on the right side, we'll pause and hold here for a few breaths. And inhale, we'll reach through those left fingertips. And then exhale to flip the left palm up to face the ceiling, and then start to circle that left arm out and down. Feeling the sensation change in the shoulder as you bring the hand all the way down towards your hip, and then bringing it back up overhead. We'll plant the left fingertips. Inhale to twist and reach through the crown of the head. And then exhale to walk hand over hand through center and fold over across legs. Pausing for a moment here. Perhaps using elbows to support yourself, or maybe grabbing a block to place under the forehead. Couple more breaths. And then on an inhale, we'll walk our hands back in towards the body, coming up to a tall seat. And then we'll switch out the cross of our legs before we move on to the other side. So bringing the opposite leg in front. Inhale to circle arms overhead. And then exhale to drop the left palm down, right fingertips up and over. Reaching long on an inhale. And then exhale to flip that right palm up and circle it out and down towards the right hip. Making it a nice slow movement. And once you reach the bottom, circling back up and over. And then taking that circle all the way to plant the right fingertips on the floor. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. And then exhale to walk hand over hand back to center, folding over those crossed legs again. And maybe noticing how it feels different with the opposite leg crossed in front. And a couple more breaths. Let's hold. And then inhaling to walk hands back in towards the body once again. And then we'll walk hands all the way behind us and uncross the legs. And then just windshield wipe out the knees a few times back and forth. Getting into the hips and a little bit into the shoulders here. And then pausing back at center, we'll just take a few circles with the ankles, one direction and the other. And then from here, we'll rock forward onto our knees, moving into a hero's pose. And here you have an option to take a traditional hero's pose, sitting on the heels. You can place a block under the hips for a little bit of lift, or you can take a foot stretch. This will the foot stretch by tucking toes underneath and then sitting back onto the heels. It can be a little bit intense for some people, many people probably. So you can try this out for as long as you want. And then if you need to come out into just a regular hero's pose, that's just fine. But I encourage you to try this out if you haven't done it before, or even if you have. All right, and then once you've found your seated shape, we'll take just some wrist circles. Start one direction, and then switching. Keeping the crown of the head lifted up towards the sky. And then letting that go, we'll inhale to sweep arms up overhead. Exhale to bend at the elbows, lifting the collarbone, baby back bend. Inhale to reach fingertips up. Exhale, baby back bend. And just continue with this. We'll do a few more. I'm ready to come out of that toe stretch now. So I'm going to do that. Really hugging the shoulder blades together as you bend and pull those elbows back. And take one more round of that. And then we'll come forward to hands and knees. So just rocking right forward from your hero's pose. Finding a tabletop. And we'll just begin with some organic movement here. Kind of doing whatever feels good. Maybe taking cat cows or rolls or any other movement or shape that your body's kind of calling for today. We'll meet back in our neutral tabletop, and we'll rotate our palms, our hands, to so that our fingers are facing back towards our knees. You may have to shorten up the stance of your tabletop a little bit here because it's going to stretch the forearms in a very different way than what we're used to. And from this position, we'll just take a couple of traditional cat-cows. Inhaling to drop the belly, exhaling to arch the spine, draw the tailbone. You can make this pretty gentle. It will probably be pretty intense in the palms and forearms. I'm trying to get into opening some of those little muscles in the hands and arms that we usually take for granted. All right, and then after your next round, we'll rotate palms once again so that fingertips are facing in towards each other, so kind of towards the middle, and the inner wrists are facing towards the outer edges of the mat. And then we'll do the same thing, moving through a few cat-cows. And this one you might feel more in kind of the inner thumb, ring finger muscle area. And one more round of cat-cow. We'll come back to neutral. You can sit back on the heels for a minute and just shake out the elbows and wrists. Get out that, putting a lot of pressure on them. Maybe roll the wrists out a little bit. And then we'll come back to a tabletop position. And then inhale, we'll sweep the right arm up, opening out into a twist, and just take some big circles with the right arm, getting into that shoulder joint. And if your wrists have had enough for now, you could drop down to an elbow to do this. And then next time those right fingertips are reaching up towards the sky, we'll start to wrap the right arm behind our back, coming into a half bind, either bringing that hand to the left hip or maybe just placing the palm on the lower back for a gentler bind or opening. And keeping the shoulders rotated out towards the side of the mat. We want to get a little bit of an opening twist here. Taking one more full breath. And then inhaling, right fingertips back up. And exhaling back to tabletop. Next inhale, we'll sweep left arm up and out. And then taking those big circles on the left side. Again, maybe coming down to the right elbow. And then next time those left fingertips are up, we'll pause and then start to wrap the left arm behind the back, finding that right hip. And placing the palm at the base of the spine. And just finding that open, half bound twist. One more breath here. Next inhale, the fingertips will come back up overhead. And then exhale back to all fours. From here, we'll grab our blanket and laying it like right underneath our, kind of right under the belly, in the middle of our tabletop position. And then we will drop down to the elbows here. And then staying up on the knees, we'll start to send the hips up and back, letting the chest come down onto our blanket, forehead comes down to the floor, finding a puppy dog pose. So keeping the hips lifted away from the heels. Really focusing on that heart opener and shoulder opening. An option here to remove the blanket entirely or unfold it to a lower setting if you want to deepen the stretch in the shoulders. Option also to bring palms to a prayer behind the back of the head. And help get into the shoulders a little bit more. And continuing to take nice deep breaths here. One more round of breath. If you've taken that prayer, we'll replant the forearms and palms. Inhale to move back up through a tabletop briefly. And then we'll exhale to widen the knees and send the hips all the way back to the heels for child's pose. Just allowing the arms to be relaxed this time. We don't need to overextend or reach the fingertips out way too long. We just did a pretty deep shoulder opener, so just allowing the arms and the front of the body to melt down towards the floor. And next inhale, we'll start to walk both hands over towards the right. Maybe stacking the right palm on top of the left, or left palm on top of right, excuse me. And sending the left hip back towards the left heel. Feeling that side body gently release. And next inhale, we'll move back to center. And then exhale, both hands over to the left. Again, maybe stacking that right palm on top. Keeping the right hip pulled back toward the right heel. One more full breath. We'll inhale to walk hands back towards center. Full exhale. Inhale, we'll slither forward, coming onto the belly. Finding Sphinx pose. This will just be a momentary transition. One full breath here. And then exhale to roll the whole front of the body down to the ground. We'll send the right arm out to a T, planting the right cheek on the ground, on the mat. And then pressing into the left palm, we'll start to roll onto, headphones falling out, onto the right shoulder and right hip. Maybe popping those left toes up and over to kickstand behind the body. Finding the shoulder opener and choosing your depth with this. You can really press into that shoulder opener, or you can back off and kind of ease up on it a little bit. You choose your own adventure here. And finding a spot you want to hold for several more breaths. And exhale, we'll start to roll slowly back to the belly, coming through center. And then send that left arm out wide and start to roll onto the left side. Settling into your shoulder opener. And taking a couple more breaths on this side. And on an exhale, rolling back onto the belly, nice and gentle. And then from here, we'll just make our way onto our backs. Any way you would like, you can just roll directly over from the belly. And we'll bend both knees, plant the soles of the feet on the ground. And then on exhale, we'll start to hug the knees in towards the chest, maybe bringing palms of the hands to the shins. And inhale to let them fall away. Soles of the feet can fall to the floor again. Exhale to draw them in, maybe give the knees a little squeeze. And inhale to let them fall away. And continuing with this a few more times, exhaling to squeeze, curl, and inhaling to open. And then letting that go, we'll send the left leg out long, keeping the right knee bent and hugging it in towards the chest. Really keeping that left leg active, kind of pressing out through the sole of the foot and the left heel. We'll inhale here, and then exhale to draw the right knee over across the body, finding a supine twist. And maybe bringing some kind of support underneath the knee, whether that's your blanket or block. And letting the right arm fall out alongside in a T or maybe a cactus. Gaze can stay up at the ceiling or maybe start to fall over the right shoulder if you want to bring the twist into the neck. On our next inhale, we'll start to move back into center. And then release that right leg out long. Pausing for a moment. Move your prop over to the other side. Maybe noticing a difference in one hip versus the other. And we'll start to draw the left knee in towards the chest, wrapping interlace fingers around that shin, activating the right leg, pressing through the sole of the foot and the heel. Deep inhale. And then we'll exhale to start to cross the left knee over the body, finding our twist on the second side. And again, sending that left arm out to a position that feels nice. And then choosing the direction of the gaze. Continuing to send the breath down into the belly, even as we're in the twist, a little bit of a more constricted shape. And then inhale, we'll start to draw the left knee back in towards center. And then exhale to send it out long. And shake out the legs, rock the hips out a little bit. And then grabbing our block within reaching distance. We'll bend the knees again and plant the soles of the feet in pretty close towards the hips. Palms of the hands will come down alongside the body. And then inhale, grounding through the heels and the soles of the feet. We'll start to lift the hips up, maybe circling arms up overhead, finding a bridge pose, and then exhaling to roll everything back down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more inhale to lift. Exhale to roll back down. This time we'll keep the arms where they are. Inhale to lift the hips. And then we'll grab our block and choosing your height setting, slide it right underneath the hips and sacrum for a supported bridge pose. And here you can stay just as you are, or maybe straighten one leg at a time, finding an opening in the hip flexors. Can be really great when we're spending a lot of time sitting. Those muscles are usually shortened, so giving them a chance to lengthen out is a nice way to counter that. And if you've taken a straight leg, we'll just switch that out, sending the opposite leg long. And if you haven't already, we'll replant the soles of both feet. Inhale to press the hips up, removing the block. And then exhale to roll the spine back down to the ground, one vertebrae at a time. And from here, we'll bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out wide, finding a Supta Baddha Konasana. And choosing where your arms go, maybe they simply come out long alongside the body. Maybe you want to rest them on the belly or the chest, or bring them up overhead. Maybe closing the eyes here. And bringing the attention back to the places where your physical body connects to the ground. Once again, like at the beginning of class. And noticing that even in these different shapes and orientations, we can find a sense of grounding and stability and calm just by feeling that connection to the earth wherever it is on the body. You can stay in your Supta Baddha Konasana for as long as you want. But whenever you're ready, if you would like to move into a different shape for your final resting position, you can start to send the limbs and orient the body to whatever that shape's going to be. And preparing for Shavasana. Giving ourselves a few moments of complete stillness and relaxation. Wherever you have found yourself, we'll start to bring some depth and energy back into the breath. And gently taking movement and the outer extremities of the limbs, head and neck, and moving the jaw around a little bit. And just letting those movements get a little bit bigger before inhaling to reach arms overhead, sending fingertips and toes long, finding a full body stretch. And then exhaling to curl over to either side. And taking 1 or 2 breaths before you transition back up to a seated position. The eyes can stay closed. Finding some length in the spine. Once again. We'll bring hands to heart center. We'll seal out our practice with a collective breath, exhaling all the air out of your lungs, emptying completely. And then taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, ribs, and chest, holding it at the top for a beat. And then exhaling out the mouth. Eyes can gently blink open. We'll bring thumbs to third eye center. And bowing forward. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me. Hope you're staying cozy and safe and warm at home. And I will see you next week.